Hello there, welcome back to the show. This week I'm only going to do 3 videos rather than 4. The reason for this is I've just shot the first of the Roden Nazarene talks. Go see. Free advertising. We just shot that a few days ago. I don't want to do too many videos in a row, so I don't want a quality drop or anything, so I'm just doing 3 this week. I'll do 4 next week, but every time I do one of those top videos with Roden, I'm only doing 3 rather than 4, because I shoot these a week in advance of when they go up, just to make sure I've got time to get them up. It means some weeks you'll have 5 videos, some weeks you'll just have 4, other weeks you'll just have 3. Just depends on how the shooting schedule. There's not much I can do about it. I'm kind of relying on seeing what I'm doing, what he's doing, so we'll see what happens. So that's the announcement thing. Roden Nazarene Talks is now live. The first video was up. There's some reverb issues. I think I know what the problem is. Hopefully we'll get it solved by the next one. I've bought something to solve that issue, so hopefully that'll be done by next time we're on. So fingers crossed. But I think it went well. When I looked over, I thought it flowed pretty good. So I'm hoping that's the start of a good new channel. So to Godzilla. Godzilla is obviously a character I've covered already. I covered Godzilla in the without subtitle for the original. I've covered 2 of the American ones briefly in different videos, but I haven't done them in detail. And I've covered the Heisei era last week. My plans for the future of this series is I'm going to, because I'm leading up to the TV release in November in the UK of the first period, the Shohei period. I'm going to do a few more videos in the lead up to that, including this one. One will be about the Mothra Rebirth series and the Mothra. I'm waiting for Mothra to come through from America, so I'm still waiting for that film to come through. We've also got the Gamera series from the 90s, which these films were produced at the same time as the Millennium series, so I'm going to do them. And also I'll be covering the non-Toho, or basically the non-Godzilla Toho films. So you've got like King Kong Escapes, you've got the 2 American Godzilla movies, you've got Kong Skull Island because it's part of the Monsterverse, and the last you've got the Emmerich Godzilla. All of that, I mean those ones, the American ones and the King Kong Escapes, that'll be part of one video. So I've not spent a whole video on the Emmerich film. So that's the plan. So today I'm covering the Millennium series. Millennium series is 6 films. I watched 5 of these without subtitles. I've seen them all before with subtitles, but that was like 7-8 years ago. So it's been a while since I've seen them, so I couldn't remember the plot. So I was going in sort of guessing a lot of the time, because the Godzilla films run into each other. You can't remember the plot. So the titles are Godzilla 2000, Godzilla vs Megaguirus, I don't know how to pronounce that, Godzilla Mothra and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack. You've got Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, rather than versus. You've got Godzilla Tokyo SOS, and you've got Godzilla Final Wars. This made up the Millennium series. The thing that Millennium series was, the first 2 series, each film moved on from the last one, so there was continuity. Very rough continuity. Very, very rough continuity. But there was some. They did reference what happened before. In this one, most of the films take on the idea that they're sequels to the original Godzilla. So the first 4 films are like standalones, basically, like as if any other Godzilla film didn't happen. The 5th one, Godzilla Tokyo SOS, is a follow-up to Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, so that's a 2 films mini-series within the Millennium era. And Back to Final Wars as a standalone. So none of these have the problem of having to follow on from what came before. But it also means they don't have any continuity, so there's an advantage and disadvantage, because the advantage is you're not stuck with something a film just did before that makes your story harder to tell. All you really got is the original Godzilla. It means Godzilla can always be a threat, rather than, because every time they did a Godzilla film, at a certain point because he's around so much, he was kind of became more and more heroic generally as the series went on, or less villainous at least. I mean, in the first period he became more of a hero. In the Heisei period, he was never a hero, but he was less of villainous and more went on. He was just more of a creature rather than a villain. In this period, he can always be the villain. He can be the monster everyone's trying to stop in every one of these films. So it's good in a way because they can change the world around about him. So every time you go to a new movie, the world's slightly different. So it's always different reactions to this threat of Godzilla. But the bad thing is, he always resets to zero again at the end for the next film, which means there's no growth for Godzilla at all. He's just always this monster. So he becomes kind of he's a force of nature, but there's no way to really grow Godzilla that much. So it's just the world around him that grows. But it also means there's no stakes, because even if Godzilla dies in a movie, you're just going to bring him back and reset it. So it's a problem, but it's not really that big a problem. So it's just a series, and now they've started again with Shin Godzilla. I don't know where that series is going to go after this, but there's a series Shin Godzilla. Right, there's a film Shin Godzilla, and I don't know if it's going to be a series or not. I think it all depends on what the deal was with Legendary in America, who are making their MonsterVerse films just now. I think it's all tied to those films too, so I don't know what the actual deal is when we get another Godzilla film. So to the film, so yeah, I've seen these without subtitles. So I was just going by what I could see of the films, and I had to kind of guess what the people were saying. The first one, Godzilla 2000, is in some ways a bit of a letdown, because it's following on years later after Godzilla vs Destroyer, which was a really good ending for Godzilla. And now this one comes, and it's got very good elements, but it's also got one major sticking point that really kills the film. The great thing about the film is they've taken it. I think this is some of the influence the Gareth Edwards Godzilla film, where they're taking it from the kind of lower point of people around Godzilla, and you're seeing Godzilla from the point of view of human beings, rather than following Godzilla, following these human beings who are not like, one's a scientist, one's a journalist, but they're a family. They're at least two are married, they've got a child, they're struggling to make a living, and they're a very empathetic family. You're watching their troubles throughout the film. So even though the professionals are not like slick or anything, they're not. They've got responsibilities, so you feel for them. That's what's really good. And you see them in the beginning when Godzilla returns. You see from their point of view as they almost run into Godzilla, then they have to try and escape from Godzilla as Godzilla trashes the coast, and Godzilla's seen in like Godzilla's seen almost like a. It's in shadow. The shadows, you're seeing his shape in the distance. He's a presence. He's a threat. He's not humanized at all. He's just a threat that's destroying part of Japan, and he's just terrifying. It just shows you how terrifying Godzilla is. So the first 20 minutes of Godzilla 2000 is brilliant. It really is. Beautifully directed, beautifully put together. It really works. And then you get into the plot. And that's what really drags it down. Basically, they find this thing in the bottom of the ocean, which rise up from the ocean, which turns out to be an alien spacecraft. The alien spacecraft obviously has intent to kill. It must have crashed. Now it's been re-energized, so it's got intent to destroy everything and signal its people and drain the information from the humans so that they can find out what they're all about and how to defeat them. So basically everything the humans do to this thing backfires. But every so often Godzilla appears halfway through to fight it. Gets knocked back a bit, and obviously he's still getting attacked by the humans. Because the humans still think they can take down the alien thing too. And so there's a nice little section in the middle where Godzilla's fighting this alien monster, this alien craft. But it's just this thing, and it's not really. You want Godzilla to fight something, and it's just fighting this alien craft, which is obviously influenced by Independence Day, and it's just not satisfying. And then they try to go into the city to get this, to drain the information from the city to try and then send a signal to other beings to come and fight with it against the humans or something like that. I was just guessing because I didn't have any subtitles, that's what I thought was happening. But the thing was, visually, it's a lot of talk and there's not a lot of visual information given, so it's very confusing what's going on. Which I should know because I'm watching without subtitles. But most of the films in this series after that, you never had that problem. You still could tell what was going on because it kept the visuals simple and the dialogue really didn't matter that much. In this one, dialogue's so exposition heavy that it's like a bit of a drain on your energy. Even though the casts are gay and the casts are fun, it's enjoyable to watch them, it's enjoyable to watch the film. It's only towards the end when you're this arrogant scientist who keeps on getting everything wrong and he keeps on thinking he can find ways to just defeat the aliens and he always fails and he's contemptuous of Godzilla. It's only so he's doing his things against Godzilla, but it's only at the end when Godzilla finally shows up and kicks the alien's arse and just destroys it and destroys the whatever monster that comes out of the machine at the end. It gets mutated in from the machine to be a final monster fight. That's what's great. That's just brilliant. That's just so much fun. So it's almost like there's 20 minutes beginning, 20 minutes at the end. That's the good part of the film. It's just this 40 minutes in the middle that's just kind of blah. But the Japanese characters, even though you can't keep it the same, they're human enough that you can still go with it. It's still a fun film. It's just not as fun as it should be. And then after that, though, the series kicks into high gear. Because after Godzilla 2000, it's almost like they saw what the mistake was with that film and it was like, let's not do that again. Let's just not. So again, they start over with this one. It's another sequel to the original Godzilla. Godzilla comes back, starts trashing the place, you know, the usual thing. They've got this machine which creates a black hole which will drag Godzilla into another dimension. So they test the machine out in the middle of nowhere, hoping that nothing will really happen. Just test it out to see what it does. They find the machine works and it's like, okay, that's great. They go away and they send the machine into orbit because they're going to fire down at Godzilla wherever he goes so he can't escape. All great. Unfortunately, something came through, an egg came through from another dimension at the time of that test. So it's opened a door, but other things are coming back through it. So what happens is a little child who sneaked onto see the test going on, he finds the egg, takes it home, and then realises that he really can't look after it. It's like it's growing and it's scary, so he puts it down the sewer, just like the crocodile stories of someone in the sewer. Turns out the egg opens, starts to grow, kills a few people, but no one's really aware of it yet. Everyone's sort of focused on how to defeat Godzilla. Then it starts to grow and affect the sewer system, which creates kind of creating this flood. So the city starts to get flooded, and it's at this point they start putting machines under water and seeing there's something growing, which is Megaguirus. And basically after this point, these little creatures come out and start attacking Godzilla as the the big machines try to create this black hole for Godzilla, and they get in the way basically. And if nothing works, the big monster eventually rises from the water to start destroying the city. Godzilla goes in and takes it out in a really cool monster fight, just destroying it. Wonderful stuff. And ends up, they use the machine on Godzilla anyway, and he gets thrown into another dimension or something like that. That's the whole movie. It's silly as hell, but the important part of this is it works. It's silly, it's goofy, it knows it's goofy. It's paced well enough so you feel like you're not getting you're not getting something that's pretentious, that's something that's trying to say something not. The problem with Godzilla 2000, it always took itself too seriously, and it's like, it's a Godzilla movie. Shut up. This one, it pales on the atmosphere, but it still knows it's goofy and it still has some fun with it. But the atmosphere is great. The sunken city, the people try to escape the sunken city, the little boy with the little egg who ends up hiding in sewers, all that stuff works. The black hole device works. It's all goofy as hell, but it's goofy in a really good Godzilla way. This is a very underrated film. I don't think it's well liked from the Godzilla series. But I've always liked it. Every time I saw it years ago, I really enjoyed it. It's one of the ones that stuck in my head, just like the atmosphere of it, it just felt fun. And when we watched it again in Blu-ray, even for the subtitles, it was a total blast. It was so enjoyable. It was just so goofy. It's probably one of my views, one of the most underrated Godzilla films. And yeah, it's stupid, but it's a Godzilla film. It's meant to be stupid. Then we go to what's probably one of the best Godzilla films. Even without subtitles, this was spectacular. This is Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack. What a title, eh? It's amazing. It's the highlight of this series, of this era. Even though there's still final wars to come, but this is the highlight. This is the best one. This is a spectacle, but it's also got lots of monsters. And there were long monster fights, and it just works. Basically, Godzilla comes back, obviously, and starts trashing the place. You've got Mothra, you've got King Ghidorah, and you've got this other creature with this horn, who are all guardians of Japan against any threat. And they're pulled back to life by the threat of Godzilla. And they're all going to come out and take him out one by one, attack Godzilla one by one. The first one with the horn gets his arse kicked. He gets blown up by the Godzilla laser beam. Lots of stuff is blown up in this film. This film is explosion heavy. It's like the director delights in every explosion he can do, and there's tons of them. There's tons of model shots. I mean, this is, even though there's some bad CGI in some of these films, as I've added CGI to the elements, there's still some nice model work throughout it. And this one has plenty of it. It really is a delight. And they've actually, by this one time point, they've actually got the mix of CGI and model work a lot better. They can know how to do it now, so it's scaled better. And then Mothra and King Ghidorah. King Ghidorah has always been the villain, but this one he's a hero, one of the heroes. And him and Mothra fighting Godzilla is just wonderful. It's just a wonderful fight, just destroying Tokyo, just trashing the place. Also, there's a film where you get some good human characters. This journalist, she's fallen up in all this, the whole idea of these guardians of Japan. She's a very engaging character, she's very lifelike, she's funny, she's smart, she's brave, just everything. She's got all these like people around her who are part of her news crew, and they're all eccentric guys who are all, one of them's a square guy who she's obviously a boyfriend, even though he's like, so what's she doing with this guy? He seems so boring, but he's okay as this film goes on. He's fine. It's just funny because he's like the weird bit in the film. It's like, why is she with him? There's no real, I don't get it, but there you go. But the fights are great. There's some great sequences, like when she's trying to keep focus on Godzilla and get good footage and pass it over to, move it over to the news studio so they can report on it. You get great images of her driving alongside Godzilla getting this footage. It's wonderful. There's a great bit where Godzilla attacks Mothra. Mothra goes out of the way, and Godzilla's beam goes right through the headquarters of the human soldier, or the soldiers who are trying to fight Godzilla, and he just destroys their base. It's just so funny. The end's terrific. There's underwater stuff at the end. It's just a delight all the way through. Plus, the girl's got the news report, she's got a military father who's getting under-recognised by his own people until he shows she's the right stuff against Godzilla. Everything works. The human stuff works. The monster stuff works. Again, I didn't see this with any subtitles. I could follow everything instantly. Nothing was complicated. You could follow it without subtitles. Even if you didn't know exactly the words were, you could tell by the acting and by the direction what the intent was. So you never really need the words. So it was just wonderful. Right, Godzilla against Mechagodzilla is the one I've seen, I saw like half a year ago. So my memory of this one's worse than the rest. Because I saw this in the lead up to the new Godzilla film coming out. And I saw it on DVD and I saw it with subtitles. And I've got to say, this one, along with Godzilla 2000, is the one I liked least of the series. It was better than Godzilla 2000 generally, but Godzilla 2000 had better sequences within it. This one didn't have any boring bits in it, but it had a nice lead character who's trying to prove herself. But I always find Mechagodzilla to be kind of a, you know, boring character, a boring villain against Godzilla, or a boring hero against a villain's Godzilla. King Ghidorah and Mothra I adore. They're just, every time they come up, great. Some of the smaller monsters, some of the weirder monsters like Destroyer or Mechagodzilla from this series, great. Mechagodzilla, it depends on how they use them. I mean, there's been good uses of them, but always, when he turns up, I always think, yeah, it's okay. It's fine. It's just, there's nothing, it's just like, it's one villain I just don't get much charge from. It's just Godzilla fighting another version of himself. And there's less variation to it, and it's less fun when Godzilla trashes an enemy, because it's just another giant monster, but it's a metal version of him. But it's still an enjoyable film, it's still a very enjoyable film. It's just like, it's not the villain I really like, so it's not as good. And it's not as good as the Godzilla from the Heisei period, the Godzilla vs Mechagodzilla, which had a better story of Godzilla trying to find his offspring. That was a better story generally, so the Mechagodzilla felt more tied to the story and felt much more integral to what was going on. It just felt like a better story. And this one, it was I don't really remember that much about it. I just remember the fights. There's a good central fight and that's about it. It just never really did much for me, this one. It just, because it was Mechagodzilla, and I don't think they really found a new angle beyond Mechagodzilla fights Godzilla and it's a big battle in a city. And that doesn't really do much for me compared to some other Godzilla fights. Right, we're going to Godzilla Tokyo SOS. This is another one that's not as good, but I would rate it above Godzilla 2000 and Mechagodzilla, mainly because the second half's great. it's one of the shortest of this cycle. It's only an hour and a half long. The first half has a really boring lead character, try to prove himself to his grandpa, and try to prove himself to the army that he's a mechanic. He's looked down to by the pilots. He's trying to prove himself to be better than he is. He's in his fights and stuff. And he's a really annoying character, and it's just so boring. And then the monsters show up, like Mothra comes back, and Mechagodzilla's there, and the second half's a full-on Barney, destroying the city, just trashed everything. And it's like 45 minutes of pure Godzilla joy. So it makes up so much for this lead character and the tedium in the first half of the film. Because there's nice little bits in the first half, but they're bracketed between these other bits. This character is really annoying. So you never get much momentum. But as soon as the monsters start fighting, this is ace. But it's not as good as some of the other Godzilla films. It doesn't really have that, the specialness of like all attack, or Final Wars, which had sort of fun situations beside the fights. This one doesn't have that, but it just has some great fights. But not as good as fights as Space Godzilla, but it's still really enjoyable. Right, finally we have Godzilla Final Wars. This is comic book awesomeness. It's not as good as All Out Monster Attack, it's just not. But it's a close second. And it's just silly. It's stupid. Again, I saw this one without subtitles. And you don't need the subtitles. It's stupid. Lots of plot things happen. These aliens set off these there's kaiju in the world, but they mind their own business. These aliens set them up, become violent, start attacking cities. Then it seems to deal with the problem and comes and proposes peace to the people. A lot of people are suspicious and they start to question what's going on, and they suddenly have to go on a run. But they reveal the fact that aliens are evil. The aliens start all attack on the world. Then the heroes go find Godzilla. Godzilla's been caught in the ice for ages, and even though he's a big monster and he's terrifying, he is going to be released so he can fight all these monsters and fight against the aliens. So the second half of the movie is pretty much Godzilla fighting all the monsters one after another and beating the crap out of them. And it's wonderful. It's stupid as hell, but it's wonderful. So you have this, half the movie is very Matrix influenced. You've got long leather jackets, lots of men wearing, seem to be lots of makeup. It is just campy as hell, but it's so enjoyable. I mean, the lead character and lead villain, their interactions are incredibly homoerotic. You pretty much can count the final fight as like the get a room scene, because it's so both actors are so squishy, and so I'm pretty sure the lead actor was gay. I'm pretty sure he seemed too squishy and too campy to not be. I'm sure they didn't tone any of that down, they just had some fun with it, and it was just hilarious because he was just the campiest lead character of having a Godzilla movie, and then there's Godzilla fighting every monster one after another and destroying them one after another, and eventually going against King Ghidorah at the end. It's just wonderful, it's just ridiculous. It's got motorcycle chases, it's got kung fu, it's got monster versus monster, it's got everything. It's got scientists having theories, blah blah blah. Just amazing stuff. I really enjoyed Final Wars. Final Wars is the most insanely stupid but wonderful film. This is the film that Roland Emmerich probably wished he'd made with Godzilla, because it was as stupid as any of his films, but it was so much fun. It was just so much fun. It was just so enjoyable. And they get the Godzilla from the Roland Emmerich film and have Godzilla utterly destroy him in about 2 seconds. It's wonderful. So watching these Godzilla films without subtitles is actually quite interesting, because you start to watch them and you really enjoy them, and you realise you don't really need subtitles for a lot of them. A lot of them, they're cartoony enough so you can get the point, because the plots move quickly enough. It's just that first one where there's so many exposition scenes to explain the plot, it's too sci-fi. And I think even if you haven't watched any subtitles, I think you're probably pretty bored and weren't listening to most of them because it was so dull. But apart from that, you could tell what was going on. There was never any problem. I never actually felt like I was in any issues watching these films. I just felt like the story was still getting told. It was fine. I didn't get some of the details, but I don't think the details mattered. I got the general idea of it. You had lots of very weak men at the centre and lots of strong Japanese women at the centre, which obviously I really liked. I have a thing for Japanese women or Asian women. So really enjoyable. It's been a pleasure to watch these films. I'm looking forward to the Criterion release of the original series as well. I'm really looking forward to it. I've seen some of those films, but not all of them. I'm looking forward to watching these non-Toho Godzillas. The series is still going to go on going. I'm really enjoying it too much to stop, obviously. So I think the next one will be the Gamera stuff. I think I'll put in the next one. Because I could take a little break from Godzilla and do the Gamera stuff. And hopefully more will arrive by that point. But I hope you enjoyed this. I've enjoyed watching, I've enjoyed making this video. Hopefully it doesn't sound like total gibberish. But these films are fun. You can get them region A. You can go to like HD World, you can probably get them from there. Pretty decent price. I bought a German version, that's why I don't have subtitles of some of these films, and wonderful. You don't need them, you don't need subtitles. So if you're looking and seeing these films, you see a German Blu-ray without subtitles, doesn't matter, you can buy them because the subtitles don't matter. You can watch them without subtitles, they're easy to understand, it's not a problem. So I'll see you later with another video. I hope you enjoyed this. Bye. Also, like and subscribe. I keep forgetting to say that, but like and subscribe. Comment if you want below, tell me what your favourite Godzilla films are, and we'll see what comes up. I'm hoping for some really strange answers.